Welcome back, you lovely people. This is our new April sale here at Manor Park Classics. This is the Wednesday walk around that I know you love. And being the clever people that you are, you're going to like, subscribe. So you're getting this early, you're getting this on Wednesday, which means you have 3 full days to have a look at these cars either online here in this video, look on the auction listings, or come and see us here in Runcorn. Come and have a cup of tea with us. Come and open some doors and some bonnets, look at some paperwork. And talking of which, all the paperwork for all these cars is online. So if you want to have a bit more detail, it's on every single listing. But without further ado, let's pile in. You might recognize this. We're going to find this at home. This is going to be my personal crusade. This is gorgeous 1958 MG Coupe, which is a lovely car anyway. What makes this one very special, this one has been competition prepared. If Fraser runs around the back here, look at all these stickers. These just aren't set dressing. These are some of the many events that this car has done. So what can I tell you? It's built to a very high specification, to a very high standard. If I open the door for Fraser here as well, you'll see, look inside, beautiful buckets, but roll cages and harnesses as well, trip meters. Now, if you are looking to compete in FIA historic, rallying, road regularity, that's me, not the door. There you go, door shuts, lovely. It can be very, very expensive. This car, I think, somewhere between £14,000 and £16,000 you buy this car. It's very straight, very level. And if you're in the scene, you know this car, you know what it's done, you know who's built it. There's also a stack of spares with it. Let me tell you some of the spares you've got. You've got an alloy boot lid, front valance, you've got boxes with headlamps, you've got distributors, spot lamps, carburetor heat shields. There's a load of rallying spares ready for you to compete. So either drive it as a very cool road car, compete with it for a lot less money than it would cost to build, and it's got the FIA paper. So either way, lots of fun, incredibly cool road car. Fun competition car, you choose, but I think 14 to 16 grand would buy you that. That's a great place to start. Talking of MGs, MG BGT, I did a little video for Car and Classic a few months ago on why the MG BGT is probably the most perfect starter classic. This is a great example. One of my favourite colours, it's Citroen, which is a great, such a 70s colour. Why are all the car colours boring now? In the 1970s, they were so interesting. This one is going to be no reserve as well. Impact bumper car, obviously 1974 they had to put the impact bumpers on. They're not everybody's cup of tea, but they are a little bit safer. They are a little bit more usable because the cars are more cost effective. And the great thing is in modern traffic or modern parking, if you do have to park on the street and you do happen to get your bumper dinked, it doesn't matter. That's the beauty of impact bumpers. Inside it's very, very nice. Got a little motor Litre wheel on in there as well. Car's done 1,728 miles, which would suggest to me it's either gone around the clock or had a speedo change. It's had £1,600 spent in the last 12 months, and it's got the factory row styles on. I like this a lot. MG BGT, completely unpretentious classic. Don't worry about the fact that it's a rubber bumper. Don't be the rubber bumper snob. Just enjoy the fact it's a lovely level car in a fabulous 1970s colour, which I have to say, always look on the doors on an MG BGT. Look how they fit, and these fit pretty well. So a little bit out at the back. But you can adjust that out. That's a decent little car now. And as I say, no reserve, so you get to pick the price, which is always the best bit. Moving on to this, you can access your inner James Bond. What was the first Bond car? Everyone thinks of James Bond, they think of the Aston Martin, don't they? The first Bond car, don't forget, was one of these. Dr. No, look it up. They rented a car on the island for the film, and it was one of these, the Sunbeam Alpine. So if you want to drive around in Bond style, and these are fabulous little things, 1966, left-hand drive, which means it's been in America, which probably means in a dry state, I would imagine, looking at this. People always say, left-hand drive car, should I get a left-hand drive car, Paul? Will it be hard to live with? I guarantee 48 hours into your left-hand drive ownership experience, you won't care or remember the difference between left and right-hand drive. It's a bit like when you get that holiday hire car. First day feels a bit awkward, second day you don't care. The beauty of getting left-hand drive cars, they're generally a little bit cheaper over here, and when you come to get rid, they're very easy to get rid of in Europe because everybody wants them. We sell a lot of cars in Europe, don't forget, as well. The big benefit is they're normally quite rust-free. So this has had a recent respray, new alloys, these lovely retrimmed seats as well. And these are not expensive. I think, bearing in mind how much I love MGBs, I think these are cooler than an MGB Roadster, but they're not expensive. This is £7,000 to £8,000, this car. 60,000 miles, 1966. And lots of money spent recently. And I have to say, this respray is not bad at all. I mean, I wouldn't say they were going for concourse finish, but you know, it's really presentable. You could definitely do a little bit of correction and mopping on that and make that incredibly cool. And if you look here, look, from the front. I always think of these very much like a baby Thunderbird, like 1957 Ford Thunderbird is almost all the same line at the front. I think these are a fantastic looking little car, these. Baby Ford Thunderbird, lots of fun, very cost effective. Another brilliant bread and butter classic, and I mean that as the highest compliment, that's in no way denigrating these kinds of cars. I love cars like the NGB, like the Beetle, like the 2CV, like the Morris Minor, because they're very easy to live with, they're very easy to get parts for. This is gorgeous, 64 Morris Minor Traveller. It's going to be, you know, a reasonable amount of money this, because this is a very nice one. This is going to be about 10 to 12 grand, this car. Very usable, great history file, gorgeous interior. I'm going to open the door for Fraser to have a look inside, because it's very pretty. The wood, I have to say, is beautiful. You always have to check the wood on these, because it's not cheap or easy to swap. This is decent. So it's got super history, it's got an MOT all the way through to March 2025, and it's got a lot of restoration work, and more importantly, from your point of view, a lot of pictures. So you don't have to MOT these cars, but I always think an owner that does is telling you something, that they are prepared to go above and beyond to prove that the car that they've restored, again, that's me, not the door. There you go, shuts beautifully. So look at the wood is very, very nice on this, lovely tone on it as well, actually. Morris Minor Travellers, we did one of those on Salvage Hunters. What a great thing to drive. Not the Travellers, but the Morris Minor itself, with the choice of driving schools at the time, because they're so easy to drive, the controls are light, got a lovely, lovely driving manner about them. Of course, being rear-wheel drive, there's a great bit of footage of Tiff Needell drifting one of these on fifth gear at about 30 mile an hour in the wet. Look it up, and then place your bid, place your bid. Fabulous thing. This is a bit of good news. Now, I do like a Mazda MX-5. The only thing I like more than an MX-5 is a Eunos. And the difference is, if you come around the back, how do you tell a Eunos from an MX-5 with the number plates around? So the Eunos is the JDM, so the Japanese domestic market version of what we got as the MX-5. They are invariably much nicer because, unfairly, the Japanese market got much better specs. So a lot of these cars have diffs, they have aircon, which we didn't get in most of our cars. I think the square number plates around looks cooler as well. This is very nice, actually. The arches is what you always check on these, and the arches on this are very, very good. It's had some paint on the back, I can see there, which is okay, but this car is going to be very, very price rangy because it's no reserve. 1.6 isn't as slow as you think. It's got the daisies on, which is the best wheels that they did as well. That's the launch wheel that all the concept cars came on. Got a Momo wheel. This is nice, a little bit careworn. If you're viewing this, it's very pretty and very tidy, but it's by no means concours. Then it's a no reserve car. Summer is coming, and you will buy that for a few £1,000s, and I cannot think of a better way to cruise around in summer. These are actually a very good idea as well. So these not only look very good, these actually do provide some extra safety without, I think, the really ungamey look of a full roll bar. So nice looking thing that actually does provide a bit of extra safety. Just enormous amounts of fun. What else can I tell you? 1990, cloth interior, and surprisingly rust-free. So I don't know when this came over, and I don't know if it says on here, but cars that come over from Japan, because they don't salt the roads, tend to be much less corroded than the cars we have over here in the UK. So you'll find a 1990 car that's been in Japan, obviously for a little while, and then come over here, won't have the corrosion problems. These do rot, and they really do rot. So the fact the arches are very nice, the sills are very nice. That could be a bargain car, it really could. So don't be put off by the fact that it's Japanese. That to me is an enormous bonus. Moving on to one of these stars of the show. Look at this. There you go. Nova GTE. I think we all know this is going to go for an enormous amount of money because of what it is. Finally, the fast forward scene's been very mature and in great health for a long, long time. Everybody's waking up to the fact that certain hot Vauxhalls, and we do have a couple in the sale, are really, I think, as desirable, if not more so, than their Ford equivalent. This is a 1988 Nova 1.6 GTE, but you already know that. It's got a factory roof, it's got the incredibly cool interior, and would you rather have this or a Fiesta? I've got some nice Fiestas for you coming up. I think, as much as I love the Fiestas, I think I'd have the GTE. Impossibly cool, and also, so many got modified during the Max Power era, there aren't that many unmodified ones left. This was an 114,000, really nice example of this, minimal owners and just completely original spec. The only thing that's non-standard that I can see, they've highlighted the brakes in blue, which you might want to put back to a factory colour, But what a thing. So I'll tell you why it's so good. Why do you want this one? Well, it's been bare strip shell, put on a spit for repair, rear panels both inner and outer, loads of new parts, new brakes, new struts, new exhaust system, new springs, new cam belt, water pump, new clutch, refurbished wheels. This isn't just a tidy car. There has been an enormous amount of money gone into this. I would wager more than you would buy the car for. I think it's going to go for somewhere between about 14 and 16 grand. It may go for more, but if you want one, there is a car that you can buy that needs nothing. Just simply enjoy. And I do think, we never like to say cars will definitely go up, but I would be prepared to wager that car's going to appreciate, because there aren't many really nice ones about, and black has to be the best colour. Great car, that one. If you want one, as we say, you want that one. So let's compare. That's what was coming out of Luton at the time. Meanwhile, in Dagenham, they were doing this. Now this is interesting because it's no reserve. I'm going to walk around here so Fraser can get a nice front 3/4. A 1990 Ford Fiesta XR2. My mate Dan had one of these and we had an awful lot of fun in it. His was black. This is really taking me back. Those seats, that interior, those wheels. 69,000 on the odometer as well. Original and unmodified with a manual glass roof. Diamond white, classic Ford colour. Lecky windows and original interior. Which, as you might expect, being an original interior, tiny bit baggy on the driver's seat, which I'm going to show you. Like all old Fords do, unless they've been retensioned. But I'll show you this, guys. If you get an old Ford like this is really quite a level old bus. Again, had a little bit of paint, tiny bit of micro blistering on the door there, but really wouldn't put me off. So you see this? This is a problem that all old Fords have. They get a tiny bit baggy on the seat. You go to a good trimmer, because the fabric's all there and it's not gone through, they just retension them. And it's amazing how, if you just go and basically retension that all back down, all of that bagginess will go and the car will look really fresh and new. So they're just a great little thing, aren't they? I think there's a lot of goodness here. Looking around the body, you can see it's had paint, so you can see where they've actually mashed around. So the car has been painted at some point, not badly. But remember, it's a no reserve car. So whatever you think is a fair price for that car, you tell me. Lovely parcel shelf, which you always check on these as well. A lot of these were cut for 6x9s, was the fashion back in the day. So to find a decent parcel shelf, that is good news. And I would imagine a Repro back sticker on the back, but that is a nice little touch, isn't it? Fabulous little thing, that. And as I say, can't stress enough, no reserve car, could be the bargain of the sale. There is a constant in life. If it's small, fast, pretty good condition, and has an XR or an RS on the badge, it is always good news. You will always find a home for it. There are always buyers for nice little fast Fords. So if you just look here, look, you can see just work to do. So where it's had paint, you can just see there's actually paint buildup down the side there. So again, if you're going to make this really nice, I'd whip these trims out, sand that down. Tiny bit of wet flatting to do. I'd probably paint the roof again. The finish is excellent. It's just on some of the returns, but for a no reserve, I think that's more than fair. Right, this is a lot of fun. If you go onto our social media, if you go onto our website, you'll see a great video. The owner of this wanted to prove what fine fettle it was in. So as he brought it to us, he had one last donut in the car park. 2017 Spire Sports. It's like a Radical, but a lot more affordable, this. It's going to be about £10,000 to £12,000. What can I tell you? It was built in 2017 for Richard Webb. 10 races, 10 class wins, and a 4th overall in the RGB Championship. Multiple lap records. Now that is a pressure as a racing driver. When you've got a car that you know is capable of winning, if you buy this, you really do need to go and win with it, because the car is more than capable. This could be a lot of fun. It's eligible for quite a few series. You can see it's got its 750 Motor Club, who run a lot of race series. They'll tell you what the car will be eligible for. For sure, eligible for sprints and hill climbs, and you will be able to take this on a lot of track days. And I would imagine spank some unfeasibly expensive cars with this. Like I say, somewhere between 10 and 12 grand will buy you this car. I guarantee if you can pedal and if you can fit in, because I'll be honest, I don't. This is a Ferrari killer. This is a supercar killer. On almost any track you care to mention. This is built with a very specific purpose in mind, that is to go fast on track. And have a look inside. All the bits you want for scrutineering are there. Your fire system's all plumbed in, your extinguishers, your cut-offs. So she is ready to go through scrutineering. So the engine in that is a Suzuki Gixxer 1000. It's only done one season, only done 3 test days. So that's a 25-hour engine. It's got a full Tony Law exhaust system, alloy radiator, alloy oil cooler on there as well. Wheelwood brakes, Freelander diff with Quaife 80B internals, a Digi-Dash. It's actually got a trailer that comes with it and a ramp and a winch system. So It's not just the car you're buying here, guy. There is a trailer with a winch as well. You've got everything you want here to go out and slay on track, whether that's for fun or whether you want to compete. The car is ready. As long as you've got your race license, away you go. Again, massive bargain that. Couldn't build it for a lot more money than that. This is beautiful, not only in terms of colour, but condition, and I do need to show you this inside in a moment. 1964 Jaguar S-Type 3.4 litre. What a fabulous looking thing that is. Been with the same owner for 40 years. These to me are spectacularly good value S-Types, particularly when you look at Mark II prices. And I happen to think the S-Type has a really nice aesthetic, a little bit bigger, a little bit more imposing. Colour really suits it. It's got 4,000 on the Odo, which I'd imagine it has been since restoration, with a previous owner for 40 years, 2 recorded former keepers, original right-hand drive car. It's just had a gorgeous interior refresh, and I'm going to open the door for Fraser to show you inside. One of my favourite colour combinations is gunmetal with oxblood, which is what this has got, and then spectacularly good wood. Look at that. You do have to look at the wood condition on an old Jag, because having had a few done as a full restoration, it's many thousands to do it properly, and this one doesn't really need anything. So the radiator recall in 2022. It's got a new set of Riedersteins on it. Paint is really good. You know how harsh I am on paint, guys. I am the worst person to scrutinise your paint. Couple of fisheyes in the roof, which I think will flat actually. But I'd give that paint a good 8.5 maybe, which is very, very high. Don't forget 10, I'm talking absolute concours, mild deep show car. That's very presentable daily driver, that. Really super little thing. It's just lovely to drive. The guys have driven it. They say it's super. Watch the video. Don't forget, if we can drive the cars, if they are road legal, we drive every single car. It's part of what we do. So before we consign it to the hall and Mark gives it a full valet in detail, we take them all out, we do a nice video of that for you, and also we then record our notes on every single listing. If the guys think it drives nice, we tell you. If we think it needs something, we tell you that too. We're in the business of openness. Nobody wants to sell a car under false pretenses. Moving on to this, I do like these, and I do think, again, cars that aren't going to stay this cheap forever, because they are, I think, at a good point in the curve, the XKR. Now these are astonishingly quick, really very quick car. XKR 4 litre coupe, very special car, 69,000, automatic. What would you pay for a car like that? I think you'll pay somewhere between 6 and 7 grand. And let's have a look around. Really pretty car. And I think starting to come back round into their own. The paint on this is exceptionally good. Very, very nice. I'd imagine a lot of it is original paint looking at it. The wheels are nice. The tyres are good. Lots of invoices and receipts. Again, it drives beautifully. And starting to become, quite rightly, very collectible, this car. There are some invoices that come with this, loads of history, lots of Jaguar main dealer stamps, quite a few specialist stamps as well. All of its instruction books. There's 16 stamps inside. Loads of old MOTs. And a copy of an invoice when it was sold in 2004 for 32 grand. 32 grand. You're not going to spend anything like that today. You're going to spend somewhere between 6 and 7. I think you'll be very, very happy if you do. And also just look inside, look how beautifully appointed they are. And these are a quick old stick, the XKR. Very, very fast car. Right, moving on. Do you like cars with unusual colour combinations? I know I do. Have a look at this. So like an SL anyway, this is the 350. So the engine won't bust the bank. But a couple of things on this really stand out to me. One is the colour, beautiful body colour, but inside, I don't think I've really seen. This is like Lexus have just done this. Lexus on the LC did a very, very similar colour combination. So you've got the beautiful burgundy metallic, but then you've got this great, you don't often say this, really fabulous looking brown leather interior. But have a look at this as Fraser moves in. Look at the colour combination of this together. So this is a 350, so it's got all the spec, but also as well, it's got the glass roofs. You've got the best of both because that's a folding roof. 118,000 on this. Also, of course, 2 previous owners. Very individual colour combination. Now, I know it's a Marmite car. You either think it's fabulous or hideous. I'm very much in the fabulous camp on this. I just think the way the colour works with the wood, if you love it, you really love it. What I do guarantee is when you go to a car show, the chances of you parking next to another one in the same colour, very, very slim. AMG alloys, they are also original fitment on this car as well from the dealer. But what are you going to pay for this beautiful slice of exclusiveness? And I say 118,000 miles, which, as you know, on a Merc, not even halfway. A few bits to do, a little bit of lacquer peel on here. I think you'll be budgeting a few £100 just to sort the lacquer out in a couple of places. I'd get the alloys refurb. Say, give yourself £1,000 to make it absolutely beautiful, and you'd buy that for 5 or 6. And have a look at the pictures and have a look at the footage of it running. So service history is very impressive on this as well. 10 are Mercedes main dealer, 5 are a well-known specialist. Can't stress enough, guys, if you are buying particularly from afar, do have a look online. We have videos of book packs, and also, bearing in mind it's Wednesday and you're clever and you're watching this early, by all means, please call the team. If you want us to go through the bills, talk you through, or send you pictures of the bills, we'll do that. Happily do that. Because a lot of these cars have amazing histories, and we do know that the confidence in buying, particularly from far away, comes from knowing what that history is. Okay, so moving on from one SL to another, I particularly do like the shape. 1999, the facelift SL, the 129. Very pretty car, this. Lots of history again. Lovely mileage on this as well, 92,000, and it's a 320, so I think about 220 brake, 221 brake, something like that. Fast enough. You don't need to go super fast when you look this good, but what I do like about this, very, very nice on the body, particularly nice on the interior. Come and have a look, Fraser, come and look inside. When you spec a Merc, you cannot go wrong. If you order it in the German national racing colour of silver with contrast black, always sells, and also black is incredibly practical for a cab. It means you can park with the roof down as well. Super nice car, loads of invoices and receipts. Getting rare to find in this condition. Let me tell you about those receipts. Registered in 99, wasn't used till 2000, and just tons of dealer receipts, tons of specialist receipts. It's got the deflector, which is very nice, particularly if you just had your hair done as well. It does really say the buffeting. So lots of lovely bits and pieces to commend. These are starting to climb, because obviously they're a bit rarer, they're a bit closer to the 107s, the Bobby Ewing shaped car. These are starting to get their values pulled up now. You'll spend, I think, somewhere between 9 and 11 grand. But what's nice about this, the alloys are perfect, the tyres are good, the body's good. You don't need to spend anything on this. Petrol and polish, bit of tax, bit of insurance, away you go. Have some fun. Right, from the elegance of Mercedes through to a fast Ford. When I say a fast Ford, Trade Descriptions Act requires me to point out this is actually a 1.6 laser, which means it's incredibly stylish, but not necessarily fast. Fast enough, it will keep pace with modern traffic, but you do not buy a 1.6 laser for its outright speed. That's the job of the 2.8. This, though, is gorgeous. It's had a recent respray, presents beautifully. Rosso red, one of my favourite colours on a Ford, fast or otherwise. You've got, of course, the standard laser RS4 spokes, which look really good. Factory roof, which is lovely, and that's in remarkable condition, that roof. Everything from the seal, the roof itself, the mechanism inside is all absolutely gorgeous. Someone has just spent a lot of money painting this, and I have to say they've painted it rather well. Looks like the rubbers have been out as well, or at least dressed back, because that's been very nice around the rubbers. Interior is gorgeous. It's only had 4 former keepers, and it's completely original. With the sunroof, the engine bay is really good, the boot floor is really good. Last MOT, guys, straight through, straight through. And also, like we say, always check on an old Ford or any old fast car. Have a look at the back parcel shelf. It's one of the hardest bits to get right on one of these cars because so many got cut up for speakers. This one looks really good, doesn't it? Let's have a quick look in the boot. So this is the advantage of a Capri. Not only is it incredibly stylish and cool, but you've actually got quite a decent boot. If you're doing the Sainsbury's shop in your old Capri, you can actually get a full week shop in there. I'll let you into a secret. When I was a little kid, I was so obsessed with the Capri. My dad used to work in Melton Mowbray. There was a Ford dealership, and I used to spend every lunchtime when I used to go and work with him in the Ford dealership. I wanted a Capri so badly. I had one on my wall. Mark III Capri, to me, is the ultimate. I would like that very much. 1.6 or not. Don't be snobby about the engine. Uses less fuel. It's good for the environment. That's what you have to remember. Classic cars are good for the environment anyway because we're recycling. Get one with a tiny engine and join Greenpeace. Right. More Jaguar S-Types. They're a rare car to buy, unless you come here because we've got them all. This is nice. Fine-looking, mid-60s British sporting saloon. I couldn't have put it better myself. Ultimate Waffmobile. Automatic, this one. Really nice colour. Older, patinated paint, which I adore. So this has got a few little swirls and marks, but don't touch it. Don't do anything to it. Just leave it as it is. A few little tiny cauliflowers happening around the windscreen here, as you'd expect to an old lady of this vintage. And again, the alloy is just starting to rust and patinate a little bit. Not a concours car, but for that reason, I love it all the more. It just presents exactly as you want a car of this age. This looks like an old money car. And I really wouldn't go through this. I would leave the imperfections on the bumpers and just enjoy it for what it is, because this is going to be very price ranging. 9 to 11 grand, 74,000. It's got the chrome wires on it. This was actually owned by Lola driver David Edwards. So do a Google on David Edwards and have a look, because that's very cool. Anything that's got a whiff of any kind of old racing driver heritage about it, that looks like an old money car and looks like it's in old money condition, I just think at the moment, I can't think of a way I'd rather travel. And these S-Types are great, look at that. Leather's gorgeous on this. So it's been converted from manual to automatic. That's an interesting story, isn't it? So it was originally a manual, was professionally converted with an XJ40 automatic gearbox of the then owner David Edwards, former racing driver with Lola. He'd been seriously injured in a road crash in the 90s and was unable to drive a manual car. That's so interesting, there you go. So that has been converted to automatic, and that's an XJ40 box, so it's a later box. I bet that drives absolutely magnificently, that. So really interesting car, super usable. I would say as well, so I came up today in my XJ, my X308. You can't beat an automatic Jaguar. Nothing wafts like it. Nothing has the status or road presence like it. You'd buy that for 10 or 11 grand, and I defy you to find a car that has more presence and more just calm class than that car. That's what that car has, calm class. Another beautiful Jaguar. Again, I just think these are absolutely stunning, and dare I say, pound for pound, better than the contemporary Aston of the time as well. Really is a lovely thing. XK 4.2 Coupe. I don't think it's going to be very long. This is when Jaguars really started to get very pretty. The previous XKR is not everyone's cup of tea. I don't know many people that don't think these are a stunning looking car, and proportionally they absolutely nailed it on this. This has done 86,000, it's automatic, estimated at 7 to 8,000, and don't forget it is the 4.2. It's the big lad, fresh MOT, loads of history, drives and presents beautifully. And again, classic colour combination, silver with black, just a waft. If you're looking for a car that you can drive a lot, I'm really getting this thing, guys, at the moment. Let me open the door, Fraser, so we can have a look inside. You can imagine yourself sitting in there. And I keep saying this because it's true, and I've actually done this. Rather than spend £300 or £400 on a lease car, which you're ultimately renting and you're then going to hand back in 3 years' time, buy yourself or finance yourself for probably a lot less money per month, something like this. You find yourself a good specialist, and there are loads. I have a really good chap called David Marks in Nottingham who looks after my old Jags. There are going to be no more money if you tot up the total bills than running a brand new car. That can assure you. It'll still be, you know, a few thousand a year, of course it will, but you'll be driving a 4.2 Jaguar. You'll have a lot more fun. People will think you're more interesting. So we're only here once. We don't know how long we're going to be able to drive it. Interesting, exciting car. So my advice is ditch your lease car, let it go back, don't renew it. Come and buy something from the late 90s, early noughties. They're incredibly usable, very stylish, and with a good specialist, and if you keep on top of it, the bills need not be ruinous. The fun will be endless, and the impression that you give other road users, I think, is much more exciting. It was supplied new in Preston in 2007, spent most of its life in Lancashire, so it's a relatively local car. 10 service stamps, there you go. So it's got an XKR back box on that, so it's a V8 with an XKR back box. I wish I could start it for you, I bet it sounds amazing. That's great. So let's exemplify what I've just told you about. Let's exemplify a car that exudes class, will not depreciate, you can use every single day, and will probably at least make its money back, I think, even if you put tons of miles on it. This is a 1992 Mercedes 230 CE, really nice. So the little engine on this. This is a £5,000 to £6,000 car, and if you Lanagard this underneath, this is a car that you could drive 365 days a year. Again, the service parts for these cars are not expensive at all, In fact, they're amazingly cheap on these. It's done 75,000 miles, this car. This car will do, if you maintain it, 275,000 miles. Very easy. So you've got 200,000 miles worth of driving enjoyment. Can you think of a car for £6,000 that looks as good as this? Because I cannot. I cannot. Look inside, please. Come and avail yourself. Beautiful colour combination. Of course, pillarless doors on these 230s, these 124s. Look at that. Roost leather door panels. Gorgeous grey leather. Engine bay is lovely. It's got 13 stamps in the book. It's got a matching set of new Goodyears. It's got the unused first aid kit. Book pack and wallet. Proper thing. Proper thing. And I adore, I can't tell you how much I love these Mercedes in two-tone. So Fraser just comes back and gives you the wide. Look at this. So you've got the silver top, the slightly darker grey bottom. They never beat that for me. That is, to me, how this car should look. The paint is very, very good, guys. Again, it's had paint on the bonnet. There's a few dimples and imperfections. I'm being picky. For £6,000, that's unbeatable. So hand in your, whatever it is, lease Focus, your lease Astra, get rid of that. See our friends at Fast and Funded, get a bit of finance on, or just get a bank loan or stick it on your credit card, pay it off month by month. Drive that instead. Big service on that will be like 500-600 quid. You would be amazed how cheap consumables are, because I've ran one of these, they're unbelievable. What a thing, what a thing. Buy that so I don't, because I'm trying to be good this month. I want this, I really want this. I love these Daihatsus, I love them all, but when you get to the wider arch, you've got me. Imagine if this was anything from Toyota of this period, in this condition, imagine how much it would be. It would be 20-odd thousand pounds. This is a 1999 Daihatsu Fourtrak Fieldman 2.8 TDL, so rare. But why is this an interesting one? Because you get all the lumps and bumps, so you get the sexy bump bonnet, you get the wide arches. This has had some very good paint, I have to say. 156,000 miles, but it's a commercial, it will do 250,000. It just presents so well. It's been restored, it's had paintwork, but this does not look like it's worked a day in its life. Have a look inside. That has had a very easy life, hasn't it? But again, you'll buy this for 5 or 6 grand. A couple of tiny little bubbles here, look, a couple of tiny little imperfections. And I'm being so picky because this is a commercial vehicle. But when did you last see one at all in any condition? I can't think of one. And when did you last see one in this kind of condition? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not going to drive like a Rolls Royce. These are a jacked up commercial vehicle, but this has some presence. And I think with the little bump roof on the back as well, it's giving me slight early Matra Rancho vibes. This is giving me very much AMG G-Wagon vibes for 5,000 or 6,000 pounds. I would like to own that very much. And of course, if you look in the back, it is ultimately a commercial vehicle. So yes, it's very groovy to look at, but it's got a massive payload in the back. If you want the ultimate dog car, the ultimate mountain biking car, or you've got a little business that wants a van, again, don't lease a van, get this instead. It's got lots and lots of bells with it. It's got the wider steel wings, as we've said. Just absolutely stunning thing. It's a bigger arches, CD radio cassette, 5,000 to 6,000 pounds. I have nothing left to say. Buy it so I don't, please. I'm trying to be good this month. Now this has a great history, this car. This is an ex-police car. Maybe this was a Range Rover that pulled you over. And now is your time to complete that circle and buy it back. This has had a lot of money spent because it was a police car. Say what you like about our boys in blue and the way they drive on the motorway, but they maintain their cars impeccably. So this had an exemplary service history when it was in service. It's now been decommissioned. It's got an uprated engine, it's got a manual gearbox, so a 4-litre V8 in this as well. It's got loads of money spent on it on the last 5 years. So after being a police car, it's now gone into a very cherished ownership. It's obviously had a lot of work, it's had some paint work, it's had the uprated alloys inside as well. A few little tiny blebs to do on the paint, which I think would be worth doing. The interior is very nice. Obviously all the lights and sirens have gone, so you can't go around pretending you are a policeman. And it's the last year. In fact, it's a very late classic Range Rover, this one. Grey cloth, of course. You can imagine there's been a few crims and naughty people in the back. It's a nice thing. You can just see a little bit to do on this arch, look there. If you just come around here, Fraser, let me open that up. So just a little bit of rust. That will all come off. That's actually polishing off with my finger. So it's actually the corrosion there, and as the water's come in, it's making it run down. So sort that out. This will not be an expensive car for how groovy it is. It really won't. So imagine the history of this, imagine the speed of this as well. This was obviously meant to pursue bad people. So it's not slow with a 4-litre V8. 5 to 6 grand, a lot of 5 to 6 grand cars for you today. All of which, there you go, 6 grand would buy you, hopefully, you never know, it's an auction. 6 grand will buy you each of these. Which is your favourite? Leave a note in the comments below. Check me driving the engagement there. I'm moving on. Everyone fancy an ice cream? Fancy an ice cream? We could have an ice cream, we could have a potato, we could have a coffee, couldn't you? Who knows what this van could be? This is the ultimate blank canvas. We've all seen them at shows. And again, I have done one of these. I know Mike has done one of these on Wheeler Dealers as well. Citroen H van. This is very nice on the body. And that's the hard thing to get right on these. This is 6,000 miles, manual, 1900cc engine. Bodywork to remove corrosion was carried out in 2016. It's got all the glass, so there is no glass in it at the moment. We have all of that glass if you would like to return it to whatever standard you want. We know these work very well as coffee vans, and in most cases the side gets cut out to do that. So you're going to do that. I think it's the right colour to be an ice cream van, or the right colour to be a coffee van. A lot of these don't even get driven, you know. I see so many of these getting towed. This one will drive, has all the appropriate bits to make it drive. And then if you ever saw an old show I did years and years ago, 10 years ago, called Turbo Pickers, believe it or not, you open up the front of this, the whole engine and everything comes out on a subframe. 4 bolts holds it in on the front. Whip it out. You can upgrade to a later transit engine, or you can drive very, very slowly on this one. But it will need recommissioning. So it does run and drive. You can move it around, or you can drive it onto the trailer if you want to do that and make it into a coffee van. So what could it be? You choose. These are phenomenal amounts of money if you get one, 30, 40 grand if they're converted. This one, as it is, 7 to 8. So if you are looking to do a business venture, there is money to be made there for sure, either as the converter that puts it into a coffee van, or the person that does it for their business and sells coffee from it. So either way, it's good news. Gorgeous little thing, lots of potential. This is rare. That's rare to find one that's quite so solid and quite so cheap. So rare. You know it's an 02. This is a 1502, this one. And just look at this, the Neue Klasse. This is when BMW started to get their design language so right. This is the Hofmeister kink, the birth of. So this is the very famous design language at the back of the car here. If you look around on the rear pillar there, Fraser, the mighty Hofmeister kink. This is when it came into play for the first time and gave BMWs that look, that proportion, that design language. That you can see this all the way through into the E21, into the E30, even into the start of the E36. You can see elements of this design. This is kind of almost genesis for that. Really important car for BMW fans out there. This has done 9,000 miles. It hasn't done 9,000 miles. It must have gone round, I'd imagine. Manual car, MOT exempt. If you are a true BMW collector and you haven't got a 1502 in your collection, let's put that right. It's a left hooker, this one, of course, as well. And it is a project, guys. You can see it needs paint work on the front. But I would say I've restored a couple of these on the telly box. They are normally rusted to bits. I have to say, and this one really isn't. Super nice on the arches as well. A little bit of work to do on the interior. The driver's seat, which of course is on the left-hand drive side. Another fabulous pillarless door. Come and have a look at that, Fraser. You can see there's bits to do, but I think you have the bones of a very, very good car here. So it's from Poland. It's imported from the BMW Car Club. This is Fjord Blue, this colour, and this is an economy model, so I really like that. It's a lower compression ratio. And what will that cost you? Well, you'd spend about £6,000 or £7,000 buying that. I guarantee you'll be in a very, very small owners club of 1502 owners. Isn't it fabulous? Could be a straight resto. You could do something really fun with that as well. I love the fact it's left-hand drive, and I can't really stress enough, guys, it is a teeny bit scruffy, but it's very, very solid. I wish I'd had something this good to do my restoration on when I did mine. It was not as nice as this. It is all there. Super rare. 6-7 grand will buy you that. Moving on. As you can tell, this is an unfinished project. This is, as you know, a Ford Escort. 1973, great year. 1973 Ford Escort 1300 XL, where somebody has done the hard part for you. So somebody has basically got the shell. And this paint's not bad, you know. It's going to need a wet flat, but it's really quite decent. Panel fit's very, very good, look. So you're going to need to do a full refit on this. This is a shell. It is all there. What can I tell you? It's got invoices dating back to 1975, MOTs going back to 1977, the original sales brochure. We've got the front grille and glass, but no interior, so you will need to source an interior for this. The engine is fitted, and it did run about a year ago, but we will need a full recommission. So it does run and drive, or it did a year ago, so I can't imagine it'll take too much to get it going. But you're going to need to source all of this. It's got the glass, it's going to have to put it all back in. You are going to need the entire interior though. So it's got a 1298 straight four producing a massive 65 horsepower. So again, not a fast Ford, but a very solid little Ford, this one, isn't it? So if you are handy and you think you can find yourself an interior, either new or second hand, or maybe you're a trimmer, this could be a fantastic showcase for you. But we know that the price of Mark 1 Escorts has gone utterly silly. This is your chance to buy one very sensibly priced because it's no reserve. You will tell us what this car is worth. I adore the colour, and as I say, can't stress enough, the metalwork has been done to a very good standard. That's a wet flat away from being incredibly good paint. You could have a great car there, and it comes on the RS4 spokes. This right here. I'm a bit biased. I'm going to declare my bias on this car. I have the exact same car. So do I think these cars are awesome? Yes. So much so I put my own money into one. So it's an interesting car because when this shape came out, it came out as a hatch and then the saloon came out. And interestingly, a lot of these cars were supplied without rear wings. And of course, the Impreza is known for its famous rear wing. My car doesn't have the rear wing. This car doesn't have the rear wing. And I actually think, you know, it makes him into a bit of a Q car because these are a quick old stick. These are 280 breaker standard. They're very, very easy to map and make very fast. This one's done 117,000. It's a 2011 car. And this is the UK full fat STI. It's a proper thing. So you get the really sexy wide arches, front and back look. You get the very nice sports seats, which were made by Recaro for Subaru. Believe it or not, I get about 30 mpg out of mine. If you drive it normally, I've had 34 out of it. Obviously, if you spank it, you get nothing like that. But why this is really, really nice is one former keeper, current owner since 2013, so I'm guessing it's demo plus one, full book pack and wallet, 11 main dealer service stamps, a matching set of Pirellis, driven here. Just a splendid thing. These are really, everyone's going mad about the GR Yaris now, and you'll spend, well, it was 40 grand, I think the new one's 50 grand. This does everything a GR Yaris does, but it's a little bit bigger. It's a 4-door, so you can get your mates or kids in the back. It's got a massive boot, but they've got really decent amounts of legroom and space in the back. I've done 30,000 miles in mine, and I adore it. I've never said it. I think you'll struggle to find a car that does what that does, and it goes spectacularly fast. Brilliant on track, amazing on a good B road. I think a very subtle looking car. If you just come back here, Fraser, and have a look at the profile, doesn't shout that because of what it is and because it doesn't have the wing on. And these are very nice. These are the forged alloys, the STI forged alloys. A proper thing. And of course, again, there's a myriad of specialists, wonderful places can look after that car for you. Great place near me called Roger Clark Motorsport, Mataloni, do a wonderful job. But a lot of the main dealers can still look after these. All the main dealers can look after the parts as well. So I can recommend 2 or 3 main dealers that are fantastic on old Imprezas and WRXs. Now this car I know very, very well. It seems to be the Drew Pritchard sales room. Every month we have a Drew Pritchard car in. That's because Drew is currently restoring a very expensive house down in Bath, and he's having to clear out some of his toys to pay for things like Georgian radiators and things of that nature. So this belongs to my good friend Drew. He bought it from another good friend of mine called Connor Twomey, who is an ex-Mitsubishi PR guy. So it's got a great heritage and provenance, this car. Connor did some great work with it. Drew bought it because he loves the Impreza 5-door. This one is a 2004. And he went to see my other very good friend, Richard. Richard is a touring car technician and also runs Tuned just down the road in Wrexham. And Richard went through this car from front to back, took all the suspension off, painted and powder coated, rebushed it, stainless steel exhaust. So it's not just a tidy 5-door, it is a very tidy 5-door. It has been looked after by one of the greatest touring car technicians. The guy that runs Ash Sutton, 4 times touring car champion, is the man that's been maintaining this car. So don't let the fact that Drew's owned it put you off, because Drew actually spends inordinate amounts of money on his cars. He really does. He is the man you want to buy a car off, because he just gets cars done with whatever they need, and he's taking it to the best man for the job. And it is mega, absolutely mega. So I say all the suspension's been off. It's had new brakes, new exhaust, and it has done mileage-wise, what's it done? 78,000. I think these, if they're looked after, they'll get to about 150. They're relatively unstressed, these. So this is only a WRX. So a little bit less power than the STI. Again, 5-door I think is a really cool thing because not everybody gets them. You either love them or you don't. But they're super practical. Again, cars that go very, very fast that you can use for every single day. Fabulous for dogs. Of course, back seats fold down. So I'd say it's more of a hatchback than an estate, but what a usable fast car. So a car that you can, on a wet country road, spank a 911, but you can take the dog, 3 kids, and the other half with you, or do an enormous shop, or go camping. The car that does it all. And as I say, I think 5 to 6 grand will buy you that. I think Drew's probably spent 4 grand recently on it. Loads of bills, loads of history. Look at things like the brakes. You can tell all the brakes have been detailed and done. Look at the amount of effort and work that's gone into those. Look, even all the calipers have been refurbed and picked out. A splendid thing. Tiny little dent in the roof, if I'm being picky there, which I guess where someone's loaded something on the top. But a super presentable car, and you will have a lot of fun in that, I guarantee it. And if you live locally as well, take it back to Tune for servicing, because Rich is a top man. Another huge amount of car for the money. A lot of cars in the price range. It's an interesting market at the moment, actually. And what we're finding is the cars that we know will sell are kind of sub 10 grand, particularly 6, 7, 8 grand. A lot of people for buying that kind of stuff. Come around the front, Fraser, come and have a look at the front of this beautiful SL. So this is a 350, so another one, not the massive engine, but very much fast enough. 2005 SL 350, really lovely car with loads of history, this one. 89,000 miles, original book pack, fully stamped service book, and some really nice options as well. So let me just talk you through. So it's low miles for the year. It's got some CD, it's got Parktronic, it's got the 5-speed auto, it's got the xenon headlamps as well, which is very nice. New tyres have just been fitted, which is always a good sign. I think if someone puts new rubber on and bring it to a sales room, my kind of vendor, very much. Few tiny little marks, guys, and I'm being super picky, really super picky, because it presents beautifully. How it looks on the screen is pretty much what you're seeing in real life. Got the odd little tiny chip, but not much, not much. I like that a lot. 2 keys, HPI clear, 5 previous owners. I mean, these are mad, aren't they? You just spent 70 grand? 70 grand to buy this car when it was new, and you could buy it today for a tenth of that. You'd buy it for 7 grand probably on sales day. I like that a lot. Summer's coming, allegedly. I don't know if you can hear the sound of the rain on the roof, but summer is coming eventually. It will be here, I promise. And when it does, imagine wafting around in your SL 350. A lovely thing. Or would you like the full fat version? Would you like to go a bit faster? Because we do have that as well. That's not fast enough. If you have to have the 500, I have a 500 as well. So this is a bit more money because it's a bit more power, slightly larger engine, of course. 8,000 to 10,000 pounds, 95,000 with a fresh MOT. It's got the upgraded turbine alloys on, which I love. It's got P0s on. You know the Cowland rule, always check the tyres. If the tyres are new and expensive, it shows you that the owner cares. So it drives beautifully. We've driven this one. So it's like an SL55 AMG without all the cost and expense and premium. It's a brilliant silver, dark grey leather, P0s all round, and it's had loads of money spent on it 2,000 miles ago at a main dealer at Mercedes Macclesfield. This is screaming an owner that gives, you know the word. There you go. That's lovely. So save up your pennies, 8 to 10 grand to drive around in an SL500, which makes a wonderful noise and goes ridiculously quick. Now, other end of the scale, same colour, slight difference in performance, but no less fun. Can you remember, if you're my kind of age, you'll remember, so 20, 25 years ago, the world going mad for these, Citroen VTS and VTR, because they're an incredibly capable little car. They are enormous amounts of fun, but they were very relatively affordable. Again, loads of great insurance details and deals at a time when it was hard to insure cars like this. Citroen did very well tucking people into these. But it's so rare to find them. They all got modified during the Max Power era, of which I was responsible for, so I'm sorry about that. But also, a lot of them got crashed for the same reason, but most of them rusted away. So to find one that's not been crashed, has rusted or modified is very, very rare. And this one's really nice. So this one has done 87,000 miles. There are only 135 of these left, which breaks my heart because they sold thousands of them. Really clean, unmolested, 3 previous keepers. It's got the carpet mats in. It's got the original dealer plates as well. A few tiny little jobs to do. The paint's lovely, actually. I would say it's been painted on certain panels at some point. It's a bit swirly, but that will correct. You can just see here, they all do this, where the fabric's coming away. A good trimmer will be able to pull that back and get it back under the trim. It's just where the fabric's shrinking slightly. But what a thing, what a level old boat, as we say. The only thing I remember about these, apart from the fact they are enormous fun to drive, is this particular wheel, as cool as it is, it's such a pain to balance up, because if you look, you have to go to a very specific wheel and tyre place to get those balanced, because they don't have a centre cap to pop out. So a lot of these you have to balance them on the car. These are balanced beautifully, but just bear that in mind when you buy this. Getting the tyres done is an absolute pain. What else can I tell you? 4 new tyres and wheels, balanced. Yes, they've done it for you. New power steering rack, new cat. New track rod ends, new alternator belt, timing belt, water pump in 2019, which is less than 20,000 miles ago. That's a good buy, you know, guys. Someone has done all the hard work, particularly, can't stress enough what a pain in the bum it is to get those wheels and tyres balanced. That's been done. CD radio, just proper. Loads of stamps in the book as well. Chevronic Citroen, they're good. They've done a lot of the work on the car. Previous MOTs, and this MOT through till February 2025. I love that. 135 examples left. Probably one of the rarest hot hatches you can get, and 120 brake, that's a hot hatch. If you haven't driven one, ridiculous fun. And I do think potential investment car there as well. What are you going to pay for that? 6 to 7. Everything's 6 to 7 grand today, isn't it? Right, a beautiful little Mercedes SLK 230 compressor in a great colour. Look at this, 33,000 miles. What a pretty car. Great car, beautiful colour. And these are bargainous, it's the only word to describe. It's just at that point, the SLK, this shape of SLK, you can pick them up for single figure thousands. This will be low single figure thousands. It's a gorgeous colour. It's on 33,000 miles, high spec. It's got the fitted car cover as well. And it's got good history. I don't think it's full history. Let me go through that for you. Original owner kept it for 20 years. It's only got minimal mileage, so we think that's correct. Didn't scrimp on servicing. There's 18 service stamps in the book. There you go. Well, it has got an amazing history then. Second owner realised it got a special car and it had a full Dinitrol rust proofing treatment. Just basically, it's wanted for nothing, this car. It really has. Isn't that great? So monster history. Dinitrol underneath, so it's not going to go rusty. I think probably the best colour they did for that year. It's got a car cover with it. And it's got more stamps in the book. It's got more history than War and Peace. In the interior, particularly the driver's seat. That's what really makes me think that's a genuine mileage car. Not only the amazing history, but look at the seat squabs on that. That could be the bargain of the sale, guys, with Summit around the corner. Old MOTs, full book pack, spare key, and even the credit card spare key. There you go. Yeah, these are an absolute bargain. You'd buy that probably cheaper than an MX-5, you know. Which is mad when you think the price difference when they were new. And I can't stress enough, 33,000 miles on that. What a thing. Now this car, I'm going to tell you now, I would like to own very, very much. Because I'm obsessed with British touring car. Anyone knows the story of these? This is obviously more DTM, German touring car. This was the super touring. So this was, I think, the golden era of touring cars. When manufacturers had limitless budgets. They could spend any money they wanted. And the cars were £500,000 monsters, basically. And obviously to spin off that, Vauxhall had the great idea off the Super Touring. They'd do this, they'd do the Vectra Super Touring 24 valve. They made 500 of these cars. This is number 377. You can see you've got this really cool touring car-esque front spoiler. You've got the rims, you've got the sportier seats. It's a manual car, of course. And this is just an original car. Now, Ermshire did a lot of the styling. I adore Ermshire stuff. I've got a couple of Ermshire cars. So all these styling bits are Ermshire, but you have got a genuine homologation motorsport associated car here. Now imagine if this was a Ford. Imagine if this was a Ford model, like an RS, associated with a motorsport program that was a legitimately showroom sold model in great condition with fabulous paint and a good history. What would that be worth? Well, you'll find out later because I've got one to show you. But because it's a Vauxhall, and Vauxhalls never seem to quite make the money, with the exception of the Nova, that the Fords do, you could buy this for 7 to 8 grand. And again, I think that will not last. I think a day will come when people realise actually Vauxhall has been too cheap for too long. They're actually really decent little cars. And these are phenomenal amounts of fun and they drive really, really well. But you'd buy that for 7 to 8 grand. What else can I tell you about it? First registered in 97 in Dunfermline. So it's got the 2.5 24 valve V6 engine. And we do think there's only about 10 or so of these left. 16 stamps in the book, loads of MOTs, and we do think from what we can see that 73,000 miles is genuine. Isn't that a good looking thing? So just come and have a look at this Fraser, come and have a look at the beautiful lines. Sits perfectly, it's got the Ermshire exhaust on, look, the twin oval. What a fabulous looking thing. Yeah, so lots of paperwork with that. If you know what you're looking at, you know what we're about. Even comes with a Vectra Super Touring poster. Do yourself a favour, go and look on 90s touring car. Duke have got an amazing video of the 90s season that this car was a part of. Watch a couple of hours of touring car videos before you come and bid on this. You'll buy it, you'll absolutely buy it. I would love to have this in the collection. Hot Citroens, you like them? We've got them. Right, come with me. VTR, which of course is the slightly saucy version. 59,000 mile manual car, look at this. Low ownership car, French car enthusiast. Presents and drives very well. Again, a really collectible car. So this is no reserve. This is craziness. This is level, you know, guys. This is really, really nice. So you have the VTS and the VTR depending on the size of your checkbook and your insurance valuation. This is good. What can I tell you about this? Great example, very cool to own, very much agree with that. So the timing belt and water pump, lambda probe sensor, CV boot and suspension arm. So they have been done so you don't have to. Loads of old bills and invoices with it. A few previous MOTs as well, and it's got the original service pack folder and books. It's even got the radio card, which is good. But this is no reserve, guys, so you could set the price to this, and everything I've just said about the VTS very much applies to the VTR as well. You don't find them, there aren't a huge amount left. Look at other fast French hatchbacks, you know what I'm thinking. Look at things like Clio Williams, look at things like Clio 16 valve, look at 205 GTI. And this, of course, shares a lot of Peugeot DNA as well. This was the same as the 106 GTI at the back. In fact, there used to be an old Max Power thing where we used to swap the tailgates over. We used to put the 106 on the Saxo and vice versa. That was a mod back in the day. But doesn't it sit well? Doesn't it look good? Isn't the proportion of this car absolutely fabulous? And with no reserve, you get to choose what the price is. The paint is very nice on that, actually. Again, I'd like to own it, and you just don't see them. Everybody modified them to find one that got through all of that period. Completely intact, not rusted, not crashed, not modified, unheard of. Now's your chance to add one to the collection, and I think that will go up. I really do. Other super rare 90s cars now. Here we go. 1990 Ford Fiesta RS Turbo. This was always the thing in the day you looked for. If it had a blue stripe and then the 6-spoke wheel, it was an XR. If it was a 3-spoke wheel and a green stripe, it was the RS. Look at this. And you just never see these. They hardly ever come up for sale. I don't think it was actually a massive sales success, the Fiesta RS Turbo, but I really wanted one. So you've got the same body kit as the XR, you get the bonnet vents, you get the much cooler wheels, you get the Recaros, and you get the leather steering wheel. This has got lots of invoices and receipts, as you'd hope. Original radio, it's had a recent recommissioning and 2 owners from new. These are starting to make good money because it's got that magic RS badge on it. The difference between an RS and an XR is just phenomenal. This one's going to be, I think, somewhere between 18 and 20. It's a very nice car. It's had a lot of new parts on it as well. New drop links, new brake pads, new brake calipers, new brake shoes, track rod ends, handbrake cables, rear flexes. It's been cleaned, it's had some paint. Exhaust middle and rear, fuel tank, lower arms, rear drums and hubs. All the bolts have been swapped, new ABS brackets, roll bar bushes. Exhaust, I say, seam sealer, high temperature paint. Have a look online. I could be here all day telling you the money that's been spent on this car. So again, somebody has gone through preparing this car beautifully for sale. And I think really, other than the fact being a pedant, I'm pretty sure that the alloys were detailed, that the disc part was done out in a satin grey. So if you're going to get it sort of concours ready, you just want to do these bits in grey and then it will look perfect. Again, perfect back parcel shelf. What a thing. What a thing. These were fearsome back in the day, but again, a car that got quite heavily modified, so really nice and refreshing to find one that isn't. Cheap fun. We've got some cheap roadsters that don't look cheap, they don't drive cheaply, and they have a huge amount of road presence. That, I think, is a potential bargain. This is a potential bargain. So a Z3 2.8, no reserve, manual, fun. These are so much fun. They're fun with any engine in, but you get the 2.8, you get the bigger engine in a manual. They're hilarious. It's got some very nice upgrade alloys on it as well. 76,000 miles. It's a manual car, 2000, this one. Been with the current owner since 2011. Manual 2.8, Arctic Silver with the Oxblood. Great, great combination. Really presentable, and it was driven here as well. Tiny bit of curbing on the alloys. Paint is very, very nice. But why is this car exciting? Well, it's a lot of fun to drive, but it's also no reserve. So you can have enormous amounts of fun with this. These do go quite sideways. If you turn the traction control off, you can be quite naughty in these because they're quite a short wheelbase in relation to their track width. And that's enough power. You can step that out, particularly on a damp roundabout. You can have a huge amount of fun, and they're quite easy to gather. You've got a whiff of James Bond, of course. It was a Bond car, so I'd put that in there as well. Been with the current owner since 2011. It's only done 6,000 miles in all of that time. Used just as a summer toy. Starting to go up. Now, just to be cards on the table, guy, this was a Cat C recorded, so it was basically damage repairable. But you don't necessarily know, depending on when that was done. Let's have a look. Yeah, in 2011. So in 2011, this car would not have been worth massive amounts of money. So to actually get it written off as a Cat C, but repairable. So this car could be phenomenally good value. I would have a bid on that because it's been repaired very well, whoever's done it. I don't know where or how it was biffed, but nothing, if you look at the panel fit, it's incredibly good. So whatever work has been done to a very high standard. So I'd have a little bid on that. Come and have a look for yourself if you'd like to satisfy yourself with the work, but that could be the bargain of the sale. Moving on, other cheap fun drop tops. Another no reserve car, Another huge amount of fun for very small amounts of money. 1980 Midget 1500. Look at this. A garage find car, this one, that we've woken from slumber with only 2 owners. 9,000 miles, so I guess that's either a recommission or round the clock on that. But they say believed to be genuine miles. Come on, guys, surely not. 9,000 miles. So apparently there's a lot of supporting evidence with this that says it's the original mileage. Do you know what? The seats look like 9,000 miles. I give them that. And to be fair, that is the original roof. Let's have a look. Let's dig deeper. It's been recommissioned. It's got a fresh MOT on it as well. It's a very interesting car. Finished in white, although we think it's been resprayed and the original colour was a little bit darker. It's only had 2 owners in from new that knew each other. And the last owner has had it for 21 years. Now, the team think, actually, and again, I'm looking at panel fit. MG restoration, it's really hard to get panel fit right, and not many people do. There's supporting paperwork to show this has done 9,000 miles. It was insured for only 1,500 miles a year on a classic. I would check for yourself. There's a lot to say this is a very low mileage car. I would be amazed if that's 9,000 miles, but it doesn't look, particularly look at how all these panels fit, look. I would wager they're factory panel fits, which is very, very rare to see on an old Midget. But it's no reserve. So the great thing is you get to set the price. So it's got detailing, all the work's carried out on some paperwork. It's been in storage for an awfully long time. There's a few old MOTs which also back up that mileage, believe it or not. It's got a new steering lock, but for a 44-year-old car, you could go through that, just do a little bit of extra detailing. That might polish out. Sometimes you can use a cutting polish to get that out. That hood might save, actually. If not, swapping a hood on an MG Midget is the work of about 4 or 5 hours. The guys at MG Spares have a really nice hood kit. I actually filmed a video of doing that. But there is no corrosion on this car at all. There's a couple of cauliflowers at the bottom of the A-pillar, a couple of cauliflowers at the bottom of the door. But again, look at the door fit on that. That door is the original door, I would say. Look at the arches as well. If it's not 9,000 miles, it's very low miles, and I would wager it's all original panels. Interesting little car. Could be an utter bargain because you said the price. 2008 Mercedes-Benz SLK 280, another fun value for money summer soft top. This one, 5 to 6 grand. You can budget for this. This is nice. Always check when you look at one of these, does it have the air scarf? This car has the air scarf. Why that's such an amazing thing. If you've never driven one of these, you get that lovely fresh winter's morning, don't you? So you've got the roof down because it's nice. You've got the heater on. You feel a little bit cold at the back of your neck. These have, if you just come and look at this Fraser, the air scarf blows hot air on the back of your neck, and it basically adds probably another 2 months of drop top motoring to your year. Because imagine blowing hot air on the back of your neck. It really makes you feel very warm and cosseted. This one's done 58,000 miles, 1 owner from new, very desirable 3-litre V6 model, super smart. It's got the air scarf, as I say. It's got the book packs and wallet. It's got 2 sets of keys. It's just really clean. Paintwork is lovely on this. I'm just having a little walk around for you. Wheels are very good and uncurbed. The leather is as new. It's got all the options you'd want to see. What else has it got? A 7-speed automatic, Parktronic, telephone pre-wiring. It's got CD changer, heated seats. And I would say that 58 is genuine. So we always put, obviously we rely on the vendors to tell us what the mileage is. We always do all the checks we can. When you've got a car with a super low mileage like that, please do check yourselves. We do all the checks that we can. And certainly the paperwork and the history suggests that would be true. And that could be a lot of car for 5 or 6 grand, I think. Moving on to another fun car. This is great, look at this. It's that colour combination again, isn't it? Silver, tungsten with a oxblood leather. Very nice Z3M. So this is the step up from the 2.8 we saw earlier. This is when you want to go really fast. Now, if you know what the clown shoe is the coupe version of this, and they are fetching extraordinary amounts of money. So these still represent, versus that, quite a cost-effective way to get a very, very fast car. It's an awful lot of fun. And this has all of it, so the wide haunches, the wide wheels, the manual gearbox, basically the M engine. Wonderful thing, 60,000 miles on a manual, 3 former keepers, original spec, super service history. And as you can read there, factory hardtop, really desirable option, which means you can run it for a little bit longer if you want to. It's got the 2-tone interior, which is very of its time and super lovely. But it's got the 3.2, so not the 2.8. This is the 3.2. This is the full fat. This is a very, very different proposition. If you like to go sideways and have a lot of fun, this is the way to do it. Think of it as an MX-5 on steroids, because this is quite a lot bigger. That's a 1.6 over there. This is a 3.2. What a thing. There you go. What would you spend to buy that? I think you spend 16 to 18 grand to buy that. And I think you'd be very happy because it doesn't need anything. Moving on, that is the end of this video. So please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. Better still, come and see us. We've still got 2 full viewing days, and of course we've still got the morning of the sale. Register to bid online, and then come and see us. Saturday morning the fun starts from 9, and there's loads of videos to come, so make sure you get the playlist coming after this. See you for the next one.